What is that about, my guy? Talk to me.
It's
When did you
growth.
become an
It's
ambassador?
growth. I
Hey.
mean, I think it paid off, all the
Yeah.
hard work, commitment, restlessness. So I got to the level where, recognized by the government of Sierra Leone. His Excellency the President tapped me on my back and gave me this responsibility.
I love that.
Yes,
I
sir.
love that. So let's talk about your new album, Heroes. I was listening to some of the tracks on there. The track Think About It. You're talking about visa propaganda, that you need a visa to Soweto. I am very much against Africans paying for visas. So this record really spoke to me so much. So
Thank you.
what inspired you to begin the album with such a provocative track?
Well, when I was working on the album, I actually realized that, okay, I need something that can just sum up all of, like everything that I'm talking about, all the concept, the songs, I can just put everything in one pot. The album was missing that. So I love the movie done by Danny Glover in the 80s. I think it came out in 1989 about Nelson Mandela. So there's some music, South African sound in that movie that I sampled. The producer
Yes, I
sampled
know there's a choral arrangement
Yes.
at the beginning. Even in the
Yes.
video, you have it in there.
Yes,
Yes.
it's very distinctive, so it's just questions that all Africans can relate to, things that we like really ramble with all day. Things like, why do I need a visa to Soweto? Why don't we have one passport? Why all these boundaries that were not created by us, separated us? I know definitely we have tribes, but we should be proud of our tribes and who we are. That's what Think About It is. I'm just trying to like really just touch on your brain.
Absolutely.
To really ask some questions.
Think about some of the orthodoxies right now. We think that we've been made to believe.
Yes, sir.
And kind of dismantle some of these old narratives about the continent.
Indeed.
Sheu T, another song which pays tribute to Guinea's anti-colonialist leader. How do you choose the historical figures that you want to highlight in this album? And what does Sheu T to you symbolize for you and for Africans in general, for young people who've never heard of this figure?
Well, most people consider me to be a Pan-Africanist, somebody that's really about, the history of our people, the unity of the continent and oneness, Sheu T was one of those leaders, him and Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, stood up for a lot, of African unity. These guys had meetings in Accra, in solidarity of the vision. Patrice Lumumba from the Congo, these are people dead and gone, forgotten by the new generation. People are really not paying no attention to that, So I just felt like with the platform that I have and with growth, it's not all about making dance music or, just having joyful moment. There are real issues in life. Yes, we make dance music for people to enjoy and have fun. But then I wanted to touch your brain. I wanted to engage the audience to where, they can start feeling like, oh, okay, I learned something about my history, about my people. If you go on YouTube, you check people reacting to the album. That's the reaction I get to where, wow, I never knew about Talmon Sankara.
Yeah.
All the stories.
They might be dead, but their ideas are very much still alive, right?
Definitely.
And we are enjoying the privilege and the benefits of having had them fight for us.
Definitely.
So throughout the album, Heroes, you blend storytelling and music production. How important is it for you to use your platform not only to entertain, but also to educate and raise awareness about African history and politics?
Well, it comes with growth. Of course, I'm a special envoy for entertainment and investment in Sierra Leone, an ambassador. So I have to really rethink the kind of material or content I put out. It has to be productive. It has to be impactful. So when I approach creating music, that's the approach. That's the thoughtful process that I go through. And Heroes just fit that. It's like a lecturer lecturing through university. I wanted to do that in music, Not to say I know it all. I'm still learning, I'm still a student, but I think I did a great job on this project.
And you've been around for a minute. One
Definitely.
of the few people that are in the hip-hop genre that have consistently been releasing material that speaks to the realities of the people on the continent. I remember when I was in Sierra Leone a couple of years ago, and people were trying to put me onto your music, to this one album that you had just released, and it was about to be election time, and for me it seemed like it was the soundtrack of the time. So how do you think your sound and message have evolved over the years, and how does Heroes, this album, reflect that growth?
Well, you can tell definitely by the growth process of my creativity. 10 years ago, I was thinking about making the next hit song, like just really trying to hit the clubs, hit the radio station, without really really taking some time to it. Now I want to make timeless music. I want to make music that's gonna be here for generations. Music that will never fade away. People that I listen to that inspired me to do music are the people like the great late Bob Marley, the late great Tupac Shakur, all these people that stood for something. They were not just doing music for merriment. So that's the kind of path in a positive light. That's the same thing I'm trying to do with my own creativity. I feel like I grew from where I was. Now it's more matured music, but I'm still a fierce MC. Certain elements of the game I'm not letting go, to where, when it comes to battles, it comes to really showing that, I'm one of the best in the continent. That's always with me.
Yeah. So, and at this point, as a veteran artist, what advice would you give to young African artists who are trying to balance, commercial success, but also creating socially conscious music?
Don't be a one night, like a one hit wonder guy. Don't just do music for the moment. You have to really dig deep. When you do music that's coming from your soul, it's timeless, because people going to be relating to it forever. I know we all want to do the bling bling. We all want to do something like microwave music that's going to come hit now and then you pass away. I will advise them to really be committed to their craft, to really just have a clean spirit and work hard. You really got to put in a lot of work. Like you said it yourself, you've known Kao Denero for the longest. I think when I was made the entertainment ambassador, a lot of people thought that would be the end of the music career. Like, oh, nah, Kao is about to really hang his boots up. So when I was working on the Heroes album, I have a point to prove. To a lot of people that know, working at the office as the entertainment ambassador, trying to make policies, having meetings, doesn't change anything when I go back to the studio.
Absolutely. You're creating the bangers. So let's again talk a little bit more about this Heroes album, because I really, the few tracks that I've listened to, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
The themes of Pan-Africanism, as you said, you're a Pan-Africanist. They run through the album. How do you hope that this album will contribute to the broader conversation around African unity, especially among young people?
Well, I think, the young people are the next generation, and I feel like there's a gap, like my generation, we had a few people that really was like invested in learning about our history, and about our past. We pride ourselves, I was born in 1980, so pretty much that was the time when the Wailers were still rocking the earth, So 85, Peter Tosh and them. In the early 90s, you had Lucky Dube, So we know about consciousness and music that stands for something.
Absolutely.
But this generation today, there's a gap. They have lost it. They like make drill music.
I like that you brought 1980, the year you were born, a seminal moment in African history. Bob Marley was in Zimbabwe singing at the independence celebrations of. But you're saying there's a missing link between that time period and now with these young people not understanding.
True. They're not understanding that.
What do they need to understand about not just our heroes, but about Pan-Africanism?
Well, it hurts me most times. Like I remember. I went to Ghana one time. I was there, and we talking. I'm having a discussion with the driver that was driving me around, and I'm like, "Yo, so you guys are close to Burkina Faso?" It was like, "Oh, that place, that's a village." So I'm like, one African is thinking is superior than the other, and it hurts me sometimes.
That are unnecessary divisions.
Yes, and I feel like before all the boundaries and borders and flags, this was a one territory place, where it's a tribe straight in amongst each other, with no country flag. You have the Yorubas traveling, they will come, the Hausa, they will come all the way and do business with the Ashantis. You have the Madingos coming from here. The Fulanis travel all the way from East Africa, all the way to West Africa and settle. They're from Ethiopia, that area. That's why you see the Fulani with their face. They look like Ethiopians. So this was what was going on in the continent before all the separation and borders and flags. So want young people to go back to that mentality that, yo, you know, we are one people, you know. It's just somebody came and separated us. The moment we grasp to that, I think it will make a better day for Africa and for us.
And in this album also, you touch upon the idea of leaders, African leaders being loyal to their colonial powers. How do you think African leadership can break away from this legacy and truly serve their people?
Well, it's really about internal unity, you know, because once a house that's not standing together, it's easy to fall, you know. But I guess it's because of selfishness. Some people have investments in different places. That's their interest. So they're not looking at the bigger picture to where it's for a generation and a people, you know. The leaders that stood for people, they're no longer here. You know, some of these guys, we have a few, you know, like, you know, I would really call my president a diplomatic revolutionary. You know, like he was recently just at the UN and he gave a speech that was really mind-blowing about the Security Council involving a lot of African leaders in their establishments, you know. Like he made a statement that most of the rules that the Security Council created was when Africa was in colonialism still.
So they don't count really
exactly
for the reality right now.
So we have to improvise, and you know, we need a voice, a bigger voice in the Security Council and all this lawmaking.
Absolutely. So let's share some of your creative process. You know, you are now an ambassador, you have a full office, minister, whatever the title you have. You are, I don't know, you wouldn't really call yourself a politician. I don't think that is a term that you want to, you know, attach to yourself.
I'm just social conscious.
Right.
Yeah, just
but
social conscious.
How did you select the themes and the collaborators and the production styles for this album?
Well, like I said previously on the other interview, you know, when I'm working on an album, you know, it's not just self-centered. You know, I take ideas and you know, I listen to advice, and you know, I might send a record to somebody like my manager, you know, Coscanino, and you'll be like, Kao, this is not 1995, man. That flow is like, you know what I mean? Like, it'll hurt me, but then I'll be like, hey, maybe he has a point. You know, I have to go back to the drawing board and see how I can modernize things, you know?
Yeah.
So, like I did a song, My Sound, you know, on the album. I featured 2 Nigerian artists. He totally sent me some records. Like, you know, I remember 3 years ago, he was telling me about different artists like Kao. You forget about the famous Nigerian artists. Work with the ones that's coming up. So by the time they blow up, you know, you already got records with them. You know, and I listened this time, we did a club banger, you know, My Sound, one of the best records on the album, you know, and I have a phenomenal producer. Shout out to my boy, Lord Mo. You know, I work with different producers, but I'll give him an idea, you know, and I'll help through the production process. I want this sound to sound like this, and we create it. We go back to the drawing board. So, you know, I'm very, very involved in creating, you know, all this masterpiece. Collaborations, you know, I reached out to someone like Mode 9. Mode 9 is like a legend when you think about Nigerian hip-hop. You know, he's been a friend for over 8-9 years. We've been talking since he was in Lagos. He's like a pioneer, Nigerian hip-hop pioneer.
Absolutely. I know Mode 9.
Yeah, Mode 9. Yeah. So he has a lot of love and respect for me, and we communicated. I sent him a couple of beats. He's a very hot, very difficult guy, you know. You just don't send him any beats. He doesn't just jump on anything. So when I sent,
selective,
very selective. Yeah. I sent him this primo type hip hop back beats, and he loved it. That's his area, his niche. You know, I sent the chorus.
Which songs did he produce on the album?
The Essence.
The Essence.
The Essence is straight hip hop. You know, back hip hop. So he came up with the idea of the hook. He's like, all right, listen, let's sample Il Bliss. Il Bliss is another Nigerian hip-hop artist. He like, Il Bliss is my guy, I'll get the vocals. So we sampled Il Bliss on the chorus, and it became a phenomenal hip-hop record.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the Sierra Leonean music industry. Now that you're fully engaged on the policy-making side,
right?
What is the missing link for it to be able to be a viable commercial success, as we have seen Afrobeats in Nigeria?
Well, there's a couple of things. You know, I've had several meetings, like especially with the producers in Sierra Leone. We have great producers, but what we lack is that signature sound. You know, Nigeria has a signature sound, which is Afrobeats. You know, the East Africans, they have a signature sound, bonga music. I think that's how they call it.
Bongo
music. Yeah. As soon as you hear it, you're like, oh, that's them. Amapiano, South Africa, they have a, you know, they have something that they're known for. So we have traditional music called Bubu and Bumbe. You know,
you want to capitalize on that. Yes.
If we can capitalize from that and create a signature sound and maybe put out some rhythms like the Jamaicans doing, they have one beat, all the big artists jump on that beat, make it national anthem to where everybody's getting used to that. Then from that, we know to where the producers pass that knowledge to anyone doing production. This is the BPM that you have to follow. This is the signature, even if you create it your own way. But then we have a signature. I think
what would you say is the state of Sierra Leone's music industry right now? How has it evolved over the last 15 years when you've been in the industry?
In the 2000s, we were doing great. I mean, phenomenal. We had artists selling out stadiums, touring. You know, actually, what was significant was P Square had their first stadium event in Sierra Leone.
I remember that.
They said it on CNN. That's after that show in Freetown, they went international. You know,
it was the catalyst that we needed. It was the spark.
Yes, and that happened in Freetown.
Yes.
So you know, we were doing great in the beginning, but something happened, a vacuum, to where the artists start traveling and living the vacuum in the industry back home. You know, so new groups of artists have to emerge. You know, and they didn't have artist development. These guys are just thinking about the fame. You know, there's a couple of good ones, but now things have started to pick up again.
Is that why you moved back from the US back to Sierra Leone to try and pick up some of these pieces of the artists that have left?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like, you know, I believe in my vision and my talent. I believe that I can make a sustainable living off what I do. You know, some people are still just guessing, like taking the risk. Oh, should I really rely on this? Should I get a 9 to 5? Should I, you know, but I saw the potential after, you know, I started packing stadiums and doing shows, touring the whole country of Sierra Leone. I feel like this is my calling. Whatever else great that's coming after, it can start from this. This can be the genesis.
How do you explain your longevity in the music industry?
It's just being engaged. You know, I'm very engaged with my fan base, and I really try to rebrand and really don't be stuck in the past. You know, if you listen to my music, it fits today. Some people say, oh, Kao sound like a rapper from the 90s. No, but I'm talking about significant issues of today.
Yeah.
You know, so if you don't like the beat, but you like the message. If you don't like the message, and like I have a record on the album called Tonight. It has like an piano feel. It's a very, very dope record. It's like a pop record. You know, there's a couple of I have some Afrobeat sounding records too on the album. So it's like, it's fusion music.
Speaking of messages, what do you hope people take away from this album here?
They say you don't know where you're coming from, where you're going, you don't know where you're going. Exactly. So if people start knowing about, I think the record actually that inspired the Heroes album is the record I did called Story of Lumumba. You know, I touched on Patrice Lumumba, you know, and I was getting calls and contacts from the whole continent. I have lawyers in Kenya reaching out to me, people in the Congo, in Uganda, like, yo, this is brilliant, bro. We like this. You know, so I felt like, okay, yes, people are listening. You know, people are listening in the continent. So I have to do more of this.
You want to? Can you give us a little sample of that song?
I'll give you a sample of Get to Africa. Okay. You know, and yo, from the legend of Marcus Garvey, the message of Mali, 70s Robert Mugabe, Papa struggling to pay the bill, sister prostitute, yes, she may be killed, fetching water for a daily meal, maybe still swimming with the fishes like a Navy SEAL, overcoming obstacles, the blessings come in multiples, wondering how we can stop the fools, ghetto survivor, street mob provider, raised by the granny and oppressors of a father, wondering how I can dodge this, for the poop with the target practice, only rock with the real, for real, no bullshit actors, so many crabs in the bucket, they hate us daily, flower in the cockpit, left them in their tuck shit. Kill him with the
Kao, yes, my guy, going hard right here on the Voice of America. My J, respect, brother. That explains the longevity in the industry.
Thank you.
My guy.
Thank
bless.
You. Blessings.
Bless. Salutes.
Blessings.
All right. We're good. Man, that was awesome. More life.
More life.
Bless, my G.
Definitely.
Martin from our guy here, right?
And tomorrow, man, conference. You know, I'm the Hampton Conference Center, man. Don't miss out. Get your tickets. Maryland, the DMV. Let's come have a party.